Hello, Kubrick Lover 1972 here. Of course, you know me as Brian. So I posted today a video of Criterion's that I recommended if you're planning on buying any Criterions for the Barnes and Noble November sale. And in that video, I also mentioned that I might do another video recommending some arrows that are 50% off as well during November during the month of November at Barnes and Noble. So I decided to do that. But as you can see by the title, I have a few more Criterions. Obviously, I'm going to have more Criterions. But yeah. So, anyways, I'm going to mention the other Criterion a little later because it goes with it's a Japanese film, and I'm going to show a bunch of Japanese films. But I wanted to recommend this film, and I picked this up recently. I picked this up. What was it? A flash sale? I don't know if it's Criterion's flash sale in March or if it was another Criterion sale that Criterion's website had before the July Barnes and Noble sale. I don't think I picked it up during July. Anyways, it's this Italian movie called Miracle in Milan. It's really, really good. It's a really uplifting movie. I do like a lot of depressing downbeat movies. I also like happy ending movies. Like Fassbinder's very, dark and depressing movies, and Ingmar Bergman could be kind of gloomy. But this is really uplifting, and the guy that directed this is Vittoria DeSica, who directed The Bicycle Thieves and Umberto D, which are really depressing neo-realist film. This was sandwiched in between those two films. This is it's about a young man. He lives with other poor, disenfranchised people. That are they're living on this area of land, and maybe they're squatting or whatever. It's set in Italy right after World War II, and these land developers want to create it into a place to make money off of, like real estate, and so they're trying to deal with that. It's just a very uplifting. It doesn't really. If you want a film that I know that sounds a little grim sounding, but the way it's handled and everything, um, is a really light film. It's a film that you don't feel bad. It uplifts you. It makes you feel good. It's a real feel good movie. Also, the screenwriter who wrote the movie, Cesare Zavattini, he wrote the novel for this in the 30s. So, in a way, it's really his baby more than Vittoria DeSica's, But yeah, this interview with neorealism expert and film scholar David Forgak's audio interview from the late 60s, in which director DeSica looks back on his career, conducted by film critic Gideon Bachman, interviews with actors Brunella Bavo and Manuel DeSica, the director's son, feature-length documentary from 2019 on screenwriters Cesar Zavattini, and trailers and an essay. But anyways, yeah, so Miracle in Milan. And some of the critics at the time, they said the ending in the movie was a cop out. If you see the ending, maybe you'd understand what that means. But it's really just a fun, uplifting, feel good movie. This is like one of the best feel good movies I've seen. I don't know. It's a really good movie. So, anyways, okay. So now, actually, I'm probably going to show three Criterions. This one I'm technically not recommending because, not that I don't. It's a movie I've seen before, but I haven't watched a Criterion of it. But I want to bring it to issue because there's an Arrow of it as well that I bought. I thought when I bought the Arrow that I'd get a Blu-ray because it said 4K and Blu-ray, and I thought that meant there was a 4K and then a Blu-ray that came with it. Just like there's some other editions of movies that come that way with a 4K and then a separate Blu-ray. But in this particular case, it wasn't that way. It was a 4K Blu-ray single disc. So, anyways, as a Criterion, it's this version of Crash. This is a Cronenberg movie. This is supervised by Peter Szuchatski, who the cinematographer on the film, and he did the cinematography for Empire Strikes Back, Star Wars. Audio soundtrack approved by Cronenberg. Audio commentary from '97 featuring Cronenberg. Press conference on the 1996 Cannes Film Festival featuring Cronenberg, Szuchatski, author J.G. Ballard, who wrote the novel. Producers Robert Lantos and Jeremy Thomas. And Jeremy Thomas, I think, produced Last Emperor. And actors Rosanna Arquette, Holly Hunter, Elias Koteas, Jane Spader, and Deborah Kara Unger. Q&A from 1996 with Cronenberg and Ballard at the National Film Theatre in London. Behind-the-scenes footage and press interviews from 1996. Trailers. But I don't know. Aaron Penn, he was saying like he highly recommends this one. This is the 4K of Crash. I think it's region locked. I think it's a British UK one. But it's supposed to come with more special features on here. I don't think it has a commentary like the Criterion one does. Oh, it does have a commentary, but I guess by a different person. Film scholar Adrian Martin interviews with Szuchatski. Maybe that's on the other one. I don't know. Q&A with Cronenberg and Viggo Mortensen at the Toronto Film Festival. 96 Q&A with Cronenberg and source novel writer J.G. Ballard at the National Film Theatre in London. Behind-the-scenes footage and contemporary press interviews. Architect of Pain, the Cronenberg Project. Video essay by Caleb Vesnell on Cronenberg's use of architecture and location. Crash, short film originally broadcast as part of the BBC's review series starring J.G. Ballard and loosely adapted from a '70 novel, The Atrocity Exhibition. 2 short films inspired by Ballard in the novel Crash, Nightmares, Angel, and Always, and 2 Cronenberg short films, The Nest and At the Suicide of the Last Jew in the World and Last Cinema in the World. So, but yeah, Aaron was saying this is a really, really good movie. Well, not a really good edition. I mean, one of the best editions. So, I don't know. I think it's like, I think both versions are probably worth having. So maybe sometime in the far future I'll get a 4K player and I'll stick that in there and take a look at it. Okay, so next up, this one I watched recently. Now I want to say about the Arrows that I'm not going to show a ton of Arrows. I mean I'm going to show some, but some of these Arrows I'm recommending, or technically recommending, I really haven't looked at. So I haven't dug into all my Arrows. I've recently bought a whole bunch of Arrows this year. So they had an Easter sale, and they had a sale in August. I think it was in August. I had a few Arrows before then, but not to the extent that I have them now. So, but anyways, I picked this up, Children of the Corn. I hadn't seen it before or anything. But I was pleasantly surprised. I guess I like horror, but I like foreign films. I like, independent cinema. I like old Hollywood, like silent cinema. I like classic movies, but I like horror. I like all kinds of movies, but I don't know. But this one was nice. It's these children that they run this town. There's no adults. It's sort of like a cult. Like this character here, Isaac, is sort of like a cult following. He's like the leader of the children, and he has a rival whose name is Malachi, who's a taller guy, a little bit older, I believe. and the characters are, those two actors that played those two roles were a little bit older than the children. Like the character of Malachi was like 18 or 19, and the character of Isaac, he looked like he was 10 or 12, but actually he was 24, and he had troubles with growth. He had growth problems. So, but this is loaded with special features. So there's 2 audio commentaries. The first is with director Fritz Kirsch and producer Terrence Kirby, and the actors John Franklin and Courtney Gaines. Those are the 2 that played Isaac and Malachi. And there's an audio commentary by horror journalist Justin Beam and Children of the Corn historian John Sullivan. The Children of the Corn historian, he shows the actual locations in this film. He shows you what's not there, and what's like. At the start of the film, you see a restaurant, and there's a bunch of killings of adults in it, and he talks about going there, and then later on the wallpaper was changed, and now it's no longer there anymore. I think a fire destroyed it. And he shows like that they use like 4 or 5 different towns, and through the magic of editing, you think it's the same town. Like one angle, it's one town, and another angle, it's another town. Like when the cuts are put together. So he's showing where all the locations are, which I don't think were far distance from each other, but like the interiors were in Sioux City, so they were a little farther away. Child should lead a brand new interview with actor Julie Madeline and John Philbin. That's when the guy's carving the pentagram on his chest in the church. The 2 actors involved with that talk about it. There's an interview with actress Linda Hamilton on it. There's an interview with a screenwriter who talks about Stephen King, and he says he said he talked to Stephen King, and he said, respectfully, I think you're a great writer, but I think I respectfully I don't think you understand cinema, and I sort of get that. I think because I don't know sometimes if literature people can quite get cinema, because cinema has to operate by different rules. If you slavishly follow a novel, it's going to be a terrible movie. You can't apply the same rules to film that you apply to novels, because they operate by different means. I know that statement. The book's always better than the movie, but I don't think you can do that. I think it's this question. It's a question of how it operates within that particular art form. You have to judge it on the grounds of the art form. What else on here? Interview with the producer. The interview with the production designer and the composer. Look back at so I mentioned that. Interview with actor Rich Kleinberg on the infamous Lost Blue Man scene. He played a cop in the movie, and he gets killed in the movie, but it's taken out of the film. But his body is seen in the movie. His skeleton, the Blue Man, which is the cop, basically. Disciples of the Crow, which is a short film in '83 that was like a less than 20-minute film that sort of followed the same formula as this film. But anyways, yeah, it's really beautiful. I like the artwork. That's really nice artwork there. Arrows are known for their that's Malachi right there. Arrows are known for their reversible artwork. That's like one of their hallmarks. So I don't know if I'm gonna open all these up, take the disc out and all that, but I'll show you this one where it says from the author Carrie, The Shining, The Dead Zone, and Christine, and the Adult Nightmare, the Children of the Corn, So Yeah. So, anyways, so now we're gonna get into films that some like some of these, like a few of these I've seen before, but I haven't looked at the actual arrow. So I just wanted to recommend these. So I'm not totally well versed in all this stuff on here, but like I'll talk like this first one I'll mention is Deadbeat at Dawn. And I don't know if it's the most fantastic film, but I watched Joe Bob's Briggs' Last Drive-In on Shudder, which is a really good show. I highly recommend it because he talks to people that work on the film or people that involved with film. Um, he says interesting facts. He doesn't just say interesting things about film. He also says interesting things about life. He tells a few jokes. Darcy and the Mail Girl, she gives him some letters from some of his fans. So it's a really good show. And his real name's John Bloom. He was the valedictorian for Vanderbilt University in Arkansas. So, and he was in Martin Scorsese's Casino. He's the guy when the 3 jackpots go off and distribute money. He's the one that says, "Must be coincidence, Sam." And he says, De Niro says, "That's Mr. Rothstein," and De Niro's character fires him. But anyways, he showed this film on one of his shows, and he was talking about like some of the things about this guy. Well, first off, the guy that made this, he went to a college in Ohio. And unlike other film colleges, getting accepted into this college was easier than getting accepted into like a college like NYU or USC or UCLA. But the dropout rate was very significant, So he got access to, maybe it was 16 millimeter at the time, and he did some really he got involved in guerrilla filmmaking, like making films that like not working with permits and doing a lot of dangerous stuff. So like at one point he stars in the film, he acts in the movie. He's like hanging from a parking garage. So at that particular point in time, there was a cop that came by and he said, "Stop filming, stop it." So they said, "Okay, we'll stop." The minute the cop left, they were back filming. And then another time in the film, they drive a car off a bridge. I think it was a cheap car, so they didn't have to worry about ruining an expensive car. But I think it was that the director, I think he jumps out. Well, somebody jumps out of the car, and I think the case is if he jumped like a centimeter to the left or to the right when he got out of the car and landed on the ground, I think he would have been like in a dead or in a coma, So that's what and then the last scene of the film, he's driving down this alleyway, a brick alleyway with brick walls, and he's got the car door open, and he broke some of his ribs, driving down the alleyway. So but that's so that's why I bought this, and I'm sure like this is going to be loaded with just loaded with special features. Audio commentary by Jim VanBebber. He's a director. Joe Bob was saying like you would think like he'd be influenced by like somebody like Kurosawa, or maybe I don't think he was influenced by Kurosawa, but he said his big influence was Steven Spielberg. That's who influenced this director of this movie, Deadbeat at Dawn. Yeah, and so the commentaries with the actors and a guest that moderates it. brand new feature-length retrospective documentary on VanBebber and the Deadbeat legacy. I'm sort of skimming over it, his college films, clips from his college films, behind-the-scenes documentary, VHS documentary, failed Deadbeat shoot, outtakes, some short films, a lot of commentary, a music video collection, But yeah, so it's just this it's never gonna stop us. We're gonna make this film if we have to die, kind of not if we have to die, not no matter what, so, and it's not the greatest of movies, but what you learn about how they made the movie, that's what really. It's not a terrible movie, though. I wouldn't say that. I think it's kind of enjoyable. So I'm definitely going to watch it at some point. I just got tons of movies to get through. These two movies, I have a friend in the UK, and I bought them because he was highly recommending them. So obviously he knows more detail about these films than I do because he's looked these over. But I'll just state what little I know. So this one has a slipcover. It's a 12 Monkeys. It's with Brad Pitt, Bruce Willis, and Madeline Stowe. It's based on a French movie called La Jatte, which is a Criterion that comes with Sans Soleil, which is two movies by Chris Marker. It involves time travel and like trying to stop this, like I think like an apocalypse coming or something like that. It's got a commentary by Terry Gilliam, who is the director, and producer Charles Roven, and it's got a feature-length making of documentary, The Hamster Factor and Other Tales of 12 Monkeys. The film exchange with Terry Gilliam in '96 interview with Gilliam and critic Jonathan Romney recorded at the London Film Festival. Brand new appreciation by Ian Christie, author of Gilliam and Gilliam, the 12 Monkeys Archives and Theatrical Trailer. So the documentary is like my friend said, it was, I bought it, and quote me if I'm wrong, Sasha, but I think I looked on the disc itself. It's about an hour-long documentary. Maybe it's 2 hours. Maybe it's two. It's at least 1 hour. Visually, it's very, very beautiful movie to look at. So like Bruce Willis is trying to, I think, from what I remember, like trying to tell people of some like impending event in the future, and he's not being taken seriously because he's in a mental hospital. And Madeline Stowe is one of the psychiatrists there, and Brad Pitt is an inmate. So which and making me think of Bruce Willis. There's another film. I think the director's Ryan Johnson, who I think the same director who directed Rogue One, and I think he directed Knives Out, and that's what's that movie? Looper, which I have. It's a pretty good movie. It's with Bruce Willis and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, his future self is played by Brad Pitt. I recommend Looper. That's not a Criterion or an Arrow, but it's I don't know what film company, probably independent film company, I guess. I honestly can't remember. Okay, next up. I don't know where this came from. Maybe it was in here. I don't know. I'll work on it later. Anyways, this is my friend Sasha's favorite horror movie. I guess because it has comedic elements to it, and that's American Werewolf in London by John Landis. It's got nice artwork. I think my friend Sasha does he does custom sleeves. So like sometimes he's not pleased with the sleeve that comes with the movie, so he makes his own. And that partially springs from the fact that like British movies have ratings all over them, and he finds it kind of annoying, So you get postcards here. That's a nice thing about these arrows. You get these nice. Well, you get that with some special edition movies too, but yeah. And trying to remember who did the special effects of this movie. I think it was Rick Baker. I have seen this film, but I haven't seen it since the 80s. And I will say that I watched a little portion of this maybe a few years ago when I picked this up, but I haven't dug into this yet. It's got some pretty good werewolf effects that hold up to this day, So I think this is a poster. Yes, it is. Oh, I forgot another arrow. I'm going to show that at the end, the last arrow that I highly recommend. Yeah. So that's the cover, and so you get to choose. Arrow, I think, is a company that's highly involved in cult movies. Cult movies is kind of like their bag, their specialty. With Criterion, it's like thought-provoking films, cultural landmarks, milestones in cinema history. These are more like cult films that have a following, films that have people that get something out of it. So, but not that people don't get things out of Criterions. It's just I don't know how some companies have like overlaps. Like Vinegar Syndromes, for example. They have. See, I'm going on long. I knew I'd go on long, but I am. But okay, enough with that one. But Vinegar Syndrome, they sort of their sort of benchmark is they show filmmakers who are passionate about movies, but maybe don't have the sophisticated means of making really incredible, elaborate, incredible movies. So the spirit behind the movie, even though the budget might be not the best, it might be not that high to achieve really fantastic work. It's the passion behind it, but they have films like Putney Swope, for example. I haven't watched it yet, but that's sort of like a Criterion-esque kind of a movie, and it sort of dips that into it's sort of like a Criterion thing, but it's on Vinegar Syndrome's label. And there's going to be a Criterion label, maybe like The Blob, for example, or I'm trying to think of another title, Carnival of Souls. That's more, or House, for example, the Japanese movie House. That even though it's a Criterion, it sort of has a cult following too. So they sort of, nothing's concrete. Nothing's like, this is definitely a Criterion. This is definitely a Vinegar Syndrome. This is definitely an Arrow. They do have their crossovers. Okay, so I don't really watch a ton of these kind of movies. Not really my thing, but I saw this in the 80s, Weird Science, and then I took this out. I bought it. Friend of mine, Ethel, she did she does these. Well, she hasn't done them in a while, but she did like Sci-Fi Sundays, and she has watch alongs on her channel, which is 13 Originals. But anyway, she did a stream on this movie. I don't think technically this is a coming of age movie. It's more of like a fun teenage kind of film. And these two kids, they make this through a computer, they make this really. They want to have because they're losers, basically, and they make this really sexy woman basically, but it's loaded with special features. It's got um, 2 additional scenes, I guess, and interview with the casting director, filmed interview with supporting actor John Kapelos, interview with special makeup creator Craig Reardon, fantasy and microchips, a newly filmed interview with editor Chris Levinson. Ira Newborn makes the score, a newly filmed interview with the composer. It's a live resurrecting weird science and archive documentary featuring interviews with cast, crew, and admirers, including star Anthony Michael Hall. If you listen to the music, but I think in more than one version, there's more than one version of the music, but one's by this band called Oingo Boingo, and in that band you hear Danny Elfman, and I believe that was the days before he became a full-time music composer. You know, he's done a lot of work for obviously Tim Burton. You know, everybody knows that Elfman and Burton have done a lot of work together. You know, and obviously the director of the movie Weird Science, who didn't really, I don't know if he directed these kinds of films that were more sci-fi-ish. They're more like coming of age, and there are a few that were not, you know, like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, for example, was adults, you know, and then you have Home Alone, I think he directed, or no, Christopher Columbus directed it. I don't know, but you know, generally speaking, he directed movies about like teens, and he died like of a heart attack, I think, like when he was 55. Okay, next up, I got these. It's this director named something Ishii, Teruo Ishii, I think. Yeah, I think I'm pronouncing it sort of right. I do know some Japanese. I could speak some Japanese, but not really fluently. I had a teacher in 4th grade whose father was stationed in the military in Japan, I think Okinawa, and then 6th grade I had a Japanese language teacher, Japanese woman, and then after high school, adult continuing education, I had another woman from Japan, from Hiroshima, and now I watch a woman on YouTube from a YouTube channel called JapanesePod101.com. They do other countries too, or other languages too, and Risa. So she's in Tokyo, but so I sort of know some Japanese. I don't really know it fluently, but I know some words. You know, Ohayou gozaimasu, Doitashi mashite, Kore wa Shimbun desu ka, Ima nanji desu ka. I don't want to bore you too much here. Dozo yasku, hajimemashite, you know, oyasuminasai, kumbawa. Yeah, and then they have 10% of Japan's language derives from English, like coffee, kohi, radio, radio. Convenience store, I don't know how to say it, but it sort of sounds like convenience store, but it's, you know, it fits, you know, the way Japanese people speak, you know, it fits their way of speaking. Anyways, so I'm digressing. So these are sort of like cult movies. They sort of have torture in them. Well, it says Shoguns enjoy torture. They're sort of like exploitative movies from the 60s. I think I can show this picture. I think I won't run into any trouble there. I think you have to be a little cautious with these. You know, I did do a video showing these, so maybe it doesn't. Maybe I don't have to get into too much here, but I watched this one, and I don't know. I don't know if these films are totally intellectual things. Maybe they're more shock value things. I don't know. They're more cult value. And one of these particular Teruo Ishii movies, the Japanese people that were talking to these film critics or whatever, I think from maybe it was Italy, they were saying, "Why do you like this guy? He's no Kurosawa, he's no Ozu, But they were saying like, yes, but he's got like a following. He's different, He's a so visually he's quite the quite good at making very interesting films. I like his films, but I like these first two a lot. Shogun's Joy of Torture and Orgies of Edo. I like them a lot. I don't know if they're Seven Samurai, Rikiru, Throne of Blood, Tokyo Story, Late Spring, Woman in the Dunes, Face of Another, Fires in the Plain, the Burmese Harp. Those are all Criterion films by directors like Kurosawa, Ozu, Teshigahara, Ichikawa, other directors like Masaki Kobayashi, like The Human Condition, they hand, or Oshima, with In the Realm of the Senses or Empire of Passion, so he's more of maybe a cult director, This one is visually interesting, but it's kind of gaudy. I don't know how to describe it. The ending is sort of the end part of it's kind of over the top, but still in a sense it makes it interesting. It's got commentaries by Japanese cinema experts Tom Mess and Mark Schilling, Marvel Movies, a new video interview Toy exploitative movie screenwriter Masahiro Kakefuda. But I think this is the one where they show the director going to an Italian film festival, and he I think he gets like he gets like a standing ovation. And this particular director was making films. He died, I think, in the early 2000s, and he was maybe in his 80s when he died. And he was still pushing away at trying to make movies, like, and at the end of his life, he was like making films with young people, like college students. And he didn't have I don't know if he had like the money to make movies the way he on the budgets he wanted to, so he used cheaper equipment, but like his crews were like very faithful, like at that time that they wanted to help out. And like his enthusiasm and energy wasn't dead at the age of 80, like some people would be very decrepit or just retiring, and he was just alive, basically. And this one I haven't watched yet, so this is, I guess technically it's a fourth in the series, because the first three I showed were they're not chronological in the sense of characters you see in like a story that keeps going with the same characters and the same story, like, but it's like anthology films. So it's more like let's have fun and watch a movie, what was the kind of movie at the time, film that happens all over the world, like Taiwanese cinema started with like very propagandist stuff, and then they started looking in the lens and thinking about viewing it differently, viewing looking back at their past and realizing if they, um, the picture, the screen goes blank on me in 20 minutes. So I have 30 minutes, I mean, or is it, no, 20 minutes. So I have to put the password back in so I can see myself on the computer screen again. Yeah, so they run, and then so they so like Taiwan cinema, they start criticizing like their past. But then I guess now I still haven't finished this commentary for Edward Yang's Yi with Criterion. I also watched this Brighter Summer Day a while back, but he said at the time, and I think the commentary was down early 2000s, that basically there is no Taiwan cinema anymore. It's just like a thing that came and then went. I have seen this film. I saw it on Shudder on Joe Bob's show. But I got this from a friend of mine. It says 15 on it, but I think you can watch this on ABC. You can watch this on a American Play. It's Frankenhooker. It's directed by Frank Henenlotter. It's got audio commentary with Frank Henenlotter and star James Lorenz. The Meiko Frankenhooker. It's I think the character is going to get married, but then his fiance gets killed, so he has to remake her. He has to Frankenstein story, but it's funny, and he picks up hookers and tries to put them together and make him into his woman, so special effects artist is interviewed here, I guess, or documentary. The star James Lorenz and tour the Gabe Bartolos effects lab in L.A. and the South that once was named Elizabeth Patty Mullen remembers Frankenhooker. A Stitch in Time, the makeup effects of Frankenhooker, turning tricks. Jennifer Delora remembers Frankenhooker. So, and Frank Henenlotter was interviewed when that film was shown on Shudder, Joe Bob's show on Shudder. So he was talking about like how they were guerrilla filmmaking again. They were in New York City and was it Manhattan? They're going down the streets. They were getting shots, but like of prostitutes. But then like on the third go round, getting shots, like the cops started getting. I think the cops knew what they were starting to shoot stuff, or the prostitutes got hooked. They got savvy that something was happening. So if that makes any sense, so it's guerrilla filmmaking. Now I said I'd talk about one more Criterion, and here it is. And I said in my Criterion video for my Barnes and Noble, Criterion recommends. I talked about I could recommend some Japanese movies. I'll recommend one here. It's called Lone Wolf and Cub. I can't remember everything about this, but it's got a bunch of movies. It's a samurai father and his baby son in a carriage, and it's sort of kind of humorous. It's based on a manga series, but it's really entertaining. Just the way it's shot and visually, it's very interesting how he fights. He takes a sword out of the baby carriage, and there's an interview with the director of the 4 of the 6 films, silent documentary for 37 about the making of samurai swords. Yeah, but I know I'm sort of glossing over it. I don't know. I haven't watched this in a while, but this is, some of these samurai films, you don't really have to like Seven Samurai. That's a fun movie, but it's still a thought-provoking film, and and I highly recommend Seven Samurai from Criterion. Seven Samurai. deals with lots of things. It deals with family, community, romance, humor, nobility, I don't know. But yeah, so you want another fun movie, fun Japanese samurai movie with Tatsuya Nakadai and Toshiro Mifune. It's Sword of Doom. I don't think there's many special features on that Criterion, but it's just a fun samurai film. So some of these films that the Japanese filmmakers have made, samurai movies, they're not like brain games. They're just fun movies. Another good samurai movie, Yojimbo, which was made into A Fistful of Dollars, and maybe it was The Quick and the Dead. It was another remake of Yojimbo, and I think there's another film that was a remake of Yojimbo. Samurai that comes into town, Sanjuro, and he's pitting the two gangs against each other. They're causing trouble in the town. Where am I now? Okay, I'm in Japanese films. Okay, so here's one called Dark Water. I'm going on long, 47 minutes. Interview with the director, interview with the author, a brand new interview with the cinematographer, archive interviews with the actresses. There is a box that I really like to get to, and reference right there, Female Prisoner Scorpion. But this is just a horror movie, Dark Water, and it involves like spirits. I'm kind of foggy on what happens in the movie. Like this ghost that was haunting this mother and daughter. I think I can't remember. I think it's like a ghost story, basically. It's good. I'm not doing it very much justice, but visually it's very beautiful to look at. I think that's what Japanese filmmakers are very good at doing, evoking an atmosphere. Oh, another good Japanese film, a good Japanese samurai horror movie is Kuroneko, Kuroneko, which means spirit cat, I think. Neko means cat, and Kuro means like spirit, like Kage Musha. That's a Kurosawa film. It means shadow warrior. Kage means like shadow, and Musha means warrior. I don't know. I don't know if I know what warrior means, but and that was a film that was produced by George Lucas and Francis Ford Coppola, because Kurosawa couldn't find any funding from Japanese funders because, well, he made a film called DeSica and he made a company when he made that film, and it failed miserably at the box office, and he tried to commit suicide, and then after that he decided to make a film called Dursa Uzla. I have it, but I haven't watched it, and he made that in Russia. It was highly praised. So they made Kagemusha, and then he made Ron, which Serge Silverman produced for him. He produced Discreet Return of the Bourgeoisie for GoodWill, and then he made Dreams. Martin Scorsese makes an appearance in Dreams as what's his name? Vincent Van Gogh, and then he made Rhapsody in August with Richard Gere, and then he made Odegayo. I don't know how to say it. That's his last film about a elderly teacher. and then he passed away in the 90s, I believe, 94 maybe. This is here's a film I want to talk a little bit more about. Audition is by Takashi Miike, who's like one of the heavy-hitting Japanese directors. And this film is can be a hard watch because it doesn't shy away from showing things that piano wire used on people's limbs, and liquid through needles and jabbed into people's bodies, and but the plot is basically this man has lost his wife, and he needs a woman to fill that hole for him. He wants a relationship, so he works in the entertainment business, and he auditions. That's where the title comes from. A bunch of women, and then he finds this woman, but his friend sort of thinks there's something weird about her, and everything's fine, but then things start to unroll, and it's not quite what he thinks. It's a little ambiguous too. The film, like you don't know if a particular scene is ties in with the rest of the movie, and so there's little things, and I think it's done on purpose. He's done that in other movies. I think like Dead Alive. I think there's a commentary by Miike biographer Tom Mace. Introduction by Miike. Ties that bind, a brand new interview with Takashi Miike. Interviews with Ryo Ishibashi, Ihai Shina, Renji Ishibashi, and Ren Usugi. Damage, Romance, and Appreciation by Japanese cinema historian Tony Raines. So I recommend this, but it's not an easy watch. It's maybe Solo's. Solo's maybe pretty hard, fairly hard. Well, it's quite harder, much harder than this one. But this is no lightweight, And I haven't watched this, but I did watch Audition on Joe Bob's show. Now, this one I have looked at. I borrowed this from a friend of mine, and I bought it because I loved it. And oh yes, see, goes another Criterion. So there's this Japanese actress, Meiko Kaji. She's a major star in Japan, and she started out with these movies called the Stray Cat series. They're like young. I don't know, are they delinquents? But they're okay. But then she made these Female Prisoner Scorpion. They're like exploitation films. They're female prisoner films, and she's a character. Her character's put in jail. She's framed by a corrupt cop. Basically, her boyfriend was a corrupt cop, and he gets her put in jail, and basically like these 4 movies she's in, and they made more after she did the 4. They cast somebody else, but she's constantly trying to escape the prisons. So, not prison. And yeah, they're very enjoyable. Somebody was saying on YouTube, I believe, YouTube, that the transfers might not be that fantastic. I don't know. I don't know if I'm the guy to talk about like knowing what transfers are best and which ones aren't. Totally. I think these are not bad. I'm pretty pleased with them. And these are nice Blu-rays. I think it comes with a DVD here as well. Boy, I'm going on an hour. I'm going on longer than my Criterion video. Who would think? And this is, arrows, and I haven't seen most of them. But Meiko Kaji was in a Criterion called Lady Snowblood, and you hear that the music for Lady Snowblood and Kill Bill at the end of Kill Bill Volume 1, I believe. So yeah, she's great, and nice booklet. Oh yeah, and I have one more not Criterion, Arrow to show after this, which is out of print. So some of you might know what I'm saying when I say it's out of print. You might have a guess as to what that is. Anyways, yeah. But yeah, these are very enjoyable. Oh wait a minute. There's a poster here. Now, I might have shown this on a previous stream. I probably did. So there are other arrows, that I still haven't shown you guys. And, oops. Tipped over for a second there. But anyways, I'll fix that later on after this video is over with. Okay, let's see. Next step. So we got 3 more to go. 2 more Japanese box sets and then the out of print things. This one I haven't watched. Well, I've seen the first film on here. It's the films of Shinya Tsukamoto. Shinya Tsukamoto. Solid Metal Nightmares. The films of Shinya Tsukamoto. The first one is Tetsuo the Iron Man. Now, when I saw that on Joe Bob, I was kind of mixed on it. I don't know what to think. I thought it was kind of annoying a little, but then I thought a little bit more about it. I thought, this is kind of interesting because it's off the beaten path. I think that's the problem with it when I watched it the first time. It didn't have a plot or villains or it was experimental avant-garde. It was sort of off the beaten path, and maybe he's sort of I don't know if this thought makes any sense, but like maybe he's sort of like Hiroshi Teshigahara in that way, sorta. But yeah, he was making these cyberpunk films, and I guess low budgets and being innovative with less money. And other films, Bullet Ballet, Tokyo Fist, Tetsuo 2, Body Hammer rather, Snake of June, Vital, Kotoko, Killing, The Adventure of Denshu Kozu. This is loaded with special features. That's another thing about Arrow. They're loaded with special features. Oh, that's the thing about this female prisoner Scorpion. Appreciations, interviews. I'll go on forever if I keep talking about all these things. There's only so many minutes in an hour and so many hours in a day, and behind the scenes stuff here, visual essay. He's one of the big names, along with another Japanese director who they say in the documentary on here. I just watched the starting of the documentary. I got quite a bit of stuff to go through, as you can see. This one, I watched the first one, and I've seen the American remake, and I do have the first one and the second one. Maybe you can guess by what I'm saying. You might be able, well, it's a horror movie, and you might be able to guess, like, it's one of those American horror movies. You can guess, like, it's one of them. And obviously, you might know The Ring. Now, there are 2 versions of this Ring Arrow. This particular one has a book that comes with it. There's another one that does not. The one that does not has a white cover. This one has like a blackish, bluish, with a green in the middle there. So audio commentary. I think they're big on commentaries. These arrows, film historian Dita Khaled, author critic Alexander Heller Nicholas. Those are the commentaries. A series of new interviews from critics and filmmakers on the members of the Ringu series and his enduring legacy. Vicious Circle, new audio interview with author and critic Kat Ellinger on the career of Hideo Nakata, Circumnavigating Ringu, a new video essay by author and critic Alexander Heller Nicholas on the evolution of the Ringu series, Spook Size and Videotape, a new video essay by critic Jasper Sharp on the J-horror phenomenon, The Psychology of Fear, a newly edited archival interview with author Koji Suzuki, archival behind-the-scenes featurette on Ringu. Ringu is a prequel, because there's three of them. There's a Ringu, the Ringu 2, and Ringu O. Sadaka's video, multiple theatrical trailers, and you get this nice booklet. And they do put these nice booklets out. So, and you'll see that with the last one I'm going to show. But yeah, it's very nice. Japanese horror is very weird. It's sort of like atmospheric horror. It's very different from American horror. American horror maybe relies on gore. And I'm no horror expert because a lot of people, and I see them on YouTube and Facebook that they really know their horror. They really drench themselves in horror. They really saturate themselves. They really. I know I'm using weird words, but they know they're obsessed with it. They're like, they're deep into it, and I don't think I'm that sort of person with horror. I would say I'm more like that with, directors like Kubrick and David Fincher and Ridley Scott, David Lean. Of course, I'll be going on forever and ever if I keep saying, keep listing directors, Kubrick or Kurosawa, Bergman, Fellini, Antonioni, Bertolucci, Fassbinder, Scorsese, Hitchcock, I could go on, and yeah. So there's one last thing and then the video ends. Okay, I'm back. So I've got this last one to show us, a single movie, and it's loaded with special features. It's probably becoming a diatribe now or whatever. I'm saying loaded with special features. But so there is an edition of this that came out on Arrow. There is an edition, and I believe it has what this out of print this one does as it is. I think all the out of print edition of this movie has a booklet. The new edition of this movie that Arrow issued has the special features that the one with the booklet has, but the difference between the two is the new one doesn't have a booklet, I believe. So that's the difference. So this one's been out of print. I don't think I paid too much for this. Maybe it was a little expensive, but I thought it was worth it. I do have this on DVD and a metal tin, and I like that version too. And that has some special features on it, but this is more, and that's Robocop. And this is I'd probably say one of my favorite films of the 80s, and lots of quotable lines and very, very how do you put it? Over the top kind of violent humor, if you will. So it's two cuts on 2 discs. The first disc is the director's cut, and the second disc it has the theatrical cut. The director's cut is more violent and bloody, and it's got a commentary by film historian Paul M. Salmon, a commentary by fans Christopher Griffiths, Gary Smart, Eastwood Allen. A future law enforcement creating Robocop, a newly filmed interview with co-writer Michael Miner. Robotalk, a newly filmed conversation between co-writer Ed Neumeyer and filmmaker David Burke, writer of Elle, and Nicholas M. McCarthy of director of Orion Pictures, The Prodigy. The Truth of Character, newly filmed interview with star Nancy Allen, our role as Lewis. Casting Old Detroit, a newly filmed interview with casting director Julie Seltzer on the film's ensemble cast was assembled, connecting the shots. A newly filmed interview with second unit director and frequent Verhoven collaborator. Paul Verhoven's the director. Mark Goldblatt. Analog, a new featurette focusing on the special photographic effects, including new interviews with Peter Coran and Kevin Kutchaver. More Than Machine, composing Robocop, a new tribute to composer Basil Polidorus, featuring film music experts Jeff Bond, Lucas Kendall, Daniel Schweiger, and Robert Townsend. Roboprop, the newly filmed tour of superfan Julian Dumont's collection of original props and memorabilia. 2012 Q&A with the filmmakers, a panel discussion featuring Verhoeven, Davison, Neumeyer, Miner, Allen, star Peter Weller, and animator Phil Tippett, who worked on some of the Star Wars movies. Robocop, creating a legend, Villains of Old Detroit, special effects, then and now, 3 archive featurettes from 2007. Those are on the MGM UA 10, I think, featuring interviews with cast and crew. Paul Verhoeven Easter egg, that's pretty cool. I don't know how to find that. You know, Easter eggs, when they put, I think there were more in the thing when DVDs came on the scene. I have a book called, I can't remember what it's called. It's Easter egg something. Easter eggs, I don't know if it's explained. So what you buy the book and you look for a movie like Blue Velvet, for example, or I think the Lord of the Rings are in there, but you look at Blue Velvet and you look and it says if you push the remote control, put it right here, then you click down there, you'll hear David Lynch talk about like how he likes filet of fish at McDonald's and how he likes to eat he likes the chocolate milkshakes at McDonald's. You know, they're kind of in a way insignificant and really are kind of silly, but you know that's what Easter eggs are. Some of them at least. I don't know. You know, 4 deleted scenes, the boardroom storyboard with a commentary by Film Tippett, director's cut production of footage, raw dailies from the filming of the unrated gore scenes, 2 theatrical trailers, and 3 TV spots. Disc 2 is archive commentary by director Paul Verhoeven. Executive producers John Davison and co-writer Ed Neumeyer originally recorded for the theatrical version of the film. 2 isolated score tracks. Composer's original score and final theatrical mix. Edited for television version of the film featuring alternate dubs, takes, and edits to several scenes. Split screen comparisons between the director's cut and theatrical cut, and the theatrical cut and edited for TV version. Robocop edited for television, a compilation of alternate scenes from 2 edited for television versions, including outtakes newly transferred in HD from recently unearthed 35mm elements. So I sort of read the War and Peace version of Robocop, you could say. I sort of gave you the lowdown, if you will. So, but this is beautiful, beautiful looking. Now I got this off of eBay. So, like the American Werewolf in London case, you got this. Like the American Werewolf in London, you have postcards. You know, some of these movies come with postcards. Like what's that movie? It's not an Arrow. It's a Warner Brothers. The Blade Runner Voight-Kampff briefcase. They issued those in 2007. I don't know how those Blade Runner ones, like I don't know, when they say limited edition, I don't know if it's really that limited or not, or if that's just a marketing ploy. But they said there was like a limited amount of those. But I own one of those. I don't want to sound like I'm being boasting or narcissistic, but like, yeah, they made those in 2007. I don't know if you can get them that way anymore. It comes with a spinner car. It comes with a unicorn. It comes with a, origami unicorn. It comes with a, what do you call those things? Lenticular piece of glass with Deckard moving his gun. You have production drawings. You have storyboards. You have, a letter from Ridley Scott about the transfer. It's really nice. But of course, the thing that matters the most is the movie, and the special features, different cuts, the movie. Those are the things that matter. So now, before I finish it off, here's the second to last thing of the Robocop. So you get this poster here. There's the Arrow I think this is the Arrow's company's design. I think that they're behind this one. Part man, part machine, all cop. And this is I think this is the poster at the movie theater or something like that. So, and I'm almost done. Here's the book. We're going over an hour now. I think we're in the hour 10-minute range or so, maybe somewhere in there. So you get this nice booklet, So, and so when I bought this off of eBay. I think it was a little bit pricey. I've done that a few times, where I bought a movie that was kind of pricey off of eBay, that was out of print. Yeah, that's a funny scene where he gets hit with toxic liquid, and then he smashes up. When the car goes down the alleyway. Yeah, but anyways, speaking of Phil Tippett, he's doing a show on Shudder. Is it a TV show or something? It's like I think it's like a horror TV show or something. But he's got a show on Shudder. So I guess that's it. So anyways, thanks for watching. I don't want to keep you any longer. Obviously, I'm keeping you quite long. Oh, you know what? I just want to say, I think I should say this. I don't know how many people watch my music stuff that watch my film stuff, and maybe vice versa. Because my channel name is Kubrick Lover 1972, so maybe people are I don't know. Maybe because Kubrick Lover, it's inferring that I'm just a movie guy. I'm not a music person. I created the Rocking Ronin 47, as a channel which just focuses just on music. And when I do a piece of music, my GarageBand videos, I put them on both of those channels. Not all my GarageBand songs are on the Rocking Ronin 47 channel. Just maybe from my past, like the current ones I put on there, but like the ones further back, there's a few. There's some of them there. There's a few of them there, but not all of them. So I don't know, like how many people that watch these kinds of videos, my movie stuff, whether they also watch the music ones, and vice versa. Like the people that are watching the music ones they don't really care about watching the movie ones. Maybe the movie ones are boring. I don't know. I don't know if I'm boring you, because I might be just a talking head, maybe it depends sometime on what I'm talking about, or maybe if I put pictures in, I don't know. I'm probably not going to put pictures in on this video because if I did, that would be time consuming. It would take more time, and then I'm trying to get this video out before it's the 16th. It's Wednesday, and it's 12:54 in the morning. So technically, it's a Tuesday night. So, but anyways, I want to get this out soon because if people are considering buying some arrows, then I've got to put this out on YouTube. Anyways, what was I going to say? I was going to say something, and I can't remember what I was going to say. Oh yeah, I'm going to watch this. I always watch these videos like twice through. I might just watch this once through, this particular one. But like I do it because like sometimes I forget to say something. So obviously you see it on my videos. You see these subtitles come up, and or I make a mistake. I say like the wrong director or whatever. So yeah, so I guess that's enough. There are some pieces of music I did today that I'm planning on putting up on YouTube as well. Anyways, I'll shut up now. Thanks for watching. Bye now.